It is not just about ramps. It is about whether disabled people can get across town, get into buildings, get medical care, live in a usable home, and access services online. When those things are not accessible, our independence takes the hit. I'm Brandon, your one-legged, disabled advocate in Wisconsin. I want to talk about 5 big areas of access that people forget about when they think of mobility. Physical access, transportation, medical access, housing, and digital access. Mobility access is not just one ramp at one door. It is everything from how you get there, to whether you can safely get the help you need, to whether you can even use services online. Part 1, Physical Access. When people think about accessibility, they usually picture a ramp. A ramp is important, but it is only step 1. Physical barriers can include stairs, narrow doors, heavy doors, high counters, cluttered aisles, uneven sidewalks, broken elevators, and bathrooms that a wheelchair cannot even turn around in. Physical barriers limit movement for people who use wheelchairs, walkers, canes, or who have limited stamina. Sometimes a building is technically open, but the path is so difficult that it might as well be closed. Real physical access means you can get into the building, move around all the main areas, and safely use the services. That includes seating, restrooms, counters, and emergency exits. If someone has to risk falling, ask strangers to carry them or skip essential areas like bathrooms. That place is not accessible, no matter what the sign on the door says. Part 2, Transportation Access. Before a disabled person can worry about the building, they have to get there. Transportation is a huge barrier for many people with mobility disabilities. Buses without working ramps or lifts, trains without level boarding, inaccessible bus stops, missing curb cuts, and paratransit services that are late or inconsistent can all block someone from leaving home at all. Transportation barriers show up when there is no accessible route from home to the stop, when the vehicle has a ramp but it is broken or blocked, when the driver refuses to deploy the lift or does not know how, or when there is not enough securement space for mobility devices. When transportation is not accessible, people miss work, medical appointments, school, social events, and basic errands like groceries and banking. Mobility access is not just, can you get into the building? It starts with, can you even get across town? If this breakdown of mobility access is helpful, please hit like so more people can see it. And consider subscribing so you don't miss future disability advocacy videos. Part 3, Medical Access. Medical spaces are one of the most dangerous places for access to fail. Many clinics and hospitals still use exam tables and equipment that are not designed for people with mobility disabilities. Exam tables that are too high, scales that require standing, imaging machines that are hard to transfer to, and rooms that are too small for wheelchairs or walkers are all common problems. On top of that, staff sometimes assume a patient can stand, walk a short distance, or transfer without help. When that is not true, patients may feel unsafe, embarrassed, or pressured to skip parts of the exam. Because of barriers like this, people with disabilities are less likely to get routine preventive medical care than people without disabilities. The law and guidance are very clear. Medical providers must provide equal access to services for people with mobility disabilities, including accessible equipment, reasonable modifications, and extra assistance when needed. When medical spaces are not accessible, people delay or avoid care, miss screenings, and may not get accurate diagnoses. Not because of their disability itself, but because the system refused to accommodate their mobility needs. Access to health care is not a luxury. It is a basic right, and accessibility is part of that right. Part 4.
Housing access.
Now let us talk about home. Housing is a critical part of mobility access. A person needs to be able to enter their home, move around inside, and use basic areas like the kitchen, bathroom, and bedroom safely and independently. Barriers can include steps at the entrance, narrow hallways, inaccessible bathrooms, high counters, or laundry areas that cannot be reached with mobility aids. Even when accessible housing exists, it is often limited, has long waiting lists, or costs more than non-accessible units. In many places, organizations work on creating affordable, accessible housing so people with disabilities can live in homes that actually fit their needs. If your home is not accessible to you, every part of life becomes harder. Getting ready for work, managing your health, storing equipment, and even having friends and family over all become more complicated. Mobility access is not just about the world out there. It is about whether you can live with dignity in your own space. Part 5, Digital Access. The last piece people often forget is digital access. For many people with mobility disabilities, online tools are a lifeline. Websites, apps, and online services allow us to book appointments, order groceries, request rides, pay bills, work, and connect with community without always having to fight physical barriers. But digital barriers can still shut people out. Poorly designed websites, tiny click targets, pop-ups that are hard to close, forms that time out too quickly, and layouts that do not work with keyboard navigation or assistive technology can all make it hard for someone with mobility limitations to use a service. A truly accessible digital service considers how someone might navigate using only a keyboard, a switch device, voice commands, or other adaptive tools, not just a mouse or a touchscreen. Digital access and physical access are connected. If a building is hard to reach but the website is accessible, someone can still get information, reschedule, or use remote services. If both are inaccessible, that person is shut out twice. If this video spoke to you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And tell me in the comments what part of mobility access you want to talk about next. So when we talk about mobility disabilities and access, we are not just talking about ramps. We are talking about physical access, getting in and moving around. Transportation access, getting across town. Medical access, getting fair and safe health care. Housing access, having a home you can actually live in. And digital access, being able to use online tools and services. These 5 areas stack on top of each other. If one fails, life gets harder. If several fail at once, people can be completely blocked from basic parts of life. Accessibility is not about making life extra easy for disabled people. It is about removing barriers so we can live, work, travel, and participate like anyone else. Accessibility is not a favor. It is what makes participation possible. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, please share it, especially with people who design buildings, run services, or make decisions about access.